So Governor DeSantis continues to campaign against Florida's abortion rights amendment. He spoke in Coral Gables alongside some doctors, was behind a podium that read Doctors Against Amendment 4, and that featured a prayer from the Archbishop of Miami. Then he went to Jacksonville to the Sacred Heart Parish Center, and he said this new amendment would lead to 40,000 abortions in Florida each year, and that the state would become an abortion tourist destination.
Now, I don't know about that number, but I do think he's right about the fact that if this abortion amendment passes, that Florida will become like the destination in the Southeast to get abortions because you've got much tougher restrictions in all the surrounding states.
Yeah, the Deep South pretty much banned it, and it was already that in some ways.
Yep.
I don't know if you call it a tourist destination.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous way to phrase it. I thought the same thing.
You're not going to see Mickey Mouse and then get an abortion, at least I don't think.
But from a regional perspective, Florida was the only state left in this part of the Southeast. And if it passes, it would be so once again.
Yeah.
Now, the people who support the abortion rights amendment would argue that people who are traveling to get this procedure, they're not doing it for casual reasons like birth control. There may be medical reasons for it or other circumstances that require this procedure, and that it's important to have a place where they can do that. But obviously, this is a very contentious issue, and Governor DeSantis has made it one of his primary purposes in these final weeks going up into November 5th to try and get people to vote against it.
Yeah, it seems like he's almost more focused out on the trail on these amendments and trying to impact the outcome there than like state legislative races or things like that. He's laser focused on these two, and I understand why. I mean, he obviously feels strongly about both of them, especially the abortion amendment. I think the point that he made about Florida becoming a destination for abortions in the Southeast is correct. And then I understand the pro-life argument for voting no on Amendment 4. Where I'm not with the governor is the idea that if Amendment 4 were to pass, it would automatically wipe out parental notification and consent. I don't read it that way. I have no doubt that if it passes, there could end up being some legal challenges, but I'm not convinced that those legal challenges would end in the result of the amendment essentially superseding laws already on the books here in Florida.
Yeah, the people who support the abortion rights amendment say that's just a flat-out deception.
Yeah.
That it's not going to take away parental rights at all. That's just a talking point that they put out in their commercials and their messaging, including the governor.
Yeah, I don't see where...
There's no language about it in the law, is there?
No, there's no language about that in the law, and I don't see where it would automatically do something like that. So that's the one issue that he's been talking about on the trail that I disagree with him on. But I do think that in recent weeks, between the ads and maybe the governor being out there making the case, he's creating a lot of news in the state. I do think things have tightened up a bit on that one. I mean, it's going to be close whether or not that passes here in Florida, and it'll be interesting to see how we compare to states like Arizona and Nevada, where it's also on the ballots in this upcoming election.
You know, what's interesting is that it's not endorsed by Donald Trump, but the other one is.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing, at least in the polling numbers that we've seen, and we have limited polling here in Florida because we're not a battleground state, but the other amendment, the POT amendment's leading this one by a few percentage points.
And there's an ad that's been running where you've got Trump saying that he's basically fine with the marijuana amendment, that he supports it, and it's a pretty effective ad. I know it's running on our radio stations. And I guess it is okay with Trump and his team that they're just using, his interview clips as like an endorsement for it. I mean, he did endorse it,
right?
But
he said it,
but using that way, I mean, it's an effective ad if you're trying to reach, especially Trump Republicans and try to get
unless
them to
it's
cross
AI,
over.
it's not even him.
Right.
So the McDonald's Quarter Pounder has been linked to an E. coli outbreak across 10 states, in which one person died in Colorado, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The outbreak reported across Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska, Oregon, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Wisconsin. 50 people reported getting sick. And they all said that they had a quarter pounder before becoming ill. Nobody from the McDonald's that Donald Trump was at in Pennsylvania. Just want to make that clear.
No, that was everything that he
all clear
touched
there.
and served up just fine. Let me tell you what, E. coli had least of your problems if you eat a quarter pounder over. No,
well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You don't want E. coli.
What they're blaming this on are the onions. And why the hell are you getting onions on it anyway? Onions are gross.
Onions are disgusting.
Onions are awesome.
No,
I love onions.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
and
an
if you
onion
notice,
guy.
they put them on all of McDonald's burgers. They're usually
do.
chopped up in little small diced pieces.
The diced pieces I can do, but sometimes if they don't chop them up right and you get a bigger one, that's when I don't like
What?
it. Yeah, there's a big difference between
That never happens.
the very
I don't
thin
like onions at all.
chopped up ones. You know what's funny is I don't like them on anything, sandwiches, burgers, stuff like that, but I love onion rings.
Yeah, well, they're fried and battered.
I'm kind of the other way around.
Really?
I don't like onion rings. I love just onions on sandwiches, on burgers, all that stuff, but not the fried ones.
Huh.
And I don't like Funyuns either.
Oh, yeah, okay. Understandable. This is going to create some problems, though, I think, for McDonald's. It's limited to a certain amount of states, but are you going to go get a quarter pounder with cheese today?
No, but I don't usually. I get chicken McNuggets.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, and even the Trump thing, while it was positive for his supporters, McDonald's had to put out a statement saying they're not political and all that stuff, and now they got the E. coli thing. So I don't know.
The E. coli thing is just perfect for people who didn't like that stunt. They're totally trying to blame Trump.
Yeah, it's karma, I guess.
Yeah.
So in late August, more than 3,000 U.S. adults were polled about stress levels heading into the November election. And more than 7 in 10 say the future of the nation is a significant source of stress in their lives.
Well, it should be. I mean, if you listen to both sides, this is like the last election we're ever going to have. So
it is especially
country's over if the other side wins.
Yeah.
Isn't it like it's especially bad this time?
It
the
is.
Apocalyptic statements.
Oh, yeah.
And World War III and, everyone's a Marxist and a communist and all this stuff.
Or everyone's a fascist. It really is at a new level. You always heard it's the most important election of your lifetime, even though you would hear that every 4 years.
I've heard that since I was 10.
Exactly. But this time, it's literally there is no country if the other side wins. So I can understand people being a little stressed out by that.
Yeah. According to the American Psychological Association, even people with different political affiliations, 72% say they're worried about the election results leading to violence. So people are worried that chaos is going to break out and, there's going to be all kinds of incidents. And this is on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just see where people are just so polarized. They're worried about basically a civil war of some kind.
Well, I have faith in our country, and I think we will handle whatever comes our way over the next 13 days in a very calm, cool, collected fashion, and we will take the results in stride.
Yeah, sure. Well,
that take is why people who listen to this show are not stressed out.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, the thing about the Civil War argument, though, is that, unlike the actual Civil War that we had, where it was a geographical divide,
yes,
we've got Republicans and Democrats in every state in the country.
That's a good point.
So we're all living together, whether you like each other or not.
You're right, Chris. All right, Chris Trankman with today's top stories. Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.